Here's how to Auracast like an absolute professional. Now, I'm going to be showing you a couple of tips about Auracast, how it works, and how to make sure that your JBL speakers connect seamlessly. Now, what is Auracast? Auracast is a connection that you can connect all of your current gen JBL speakers. For example, this tiny little Go 4 here can easily be connected to this huge Essential 2 just by using Auracast. It's pretty cool. And we obviously can add unlimited amount of speakers. I have 7 here. Now here's how to do it like a pro. First off, you want to start by turning on your speakers, but before you do that, you want to make sure that the speakers that do get more power are plugged in. So my Essential 2 is plugged in for the max power, and so are the Dual Extreme 4s. The speakers that will do this is all of the current gen Party Box models that have Auracast, the Extreme 4, and the Boombox 4. If I missed a couple of models, let me know down in the comments, but those are the models that I know that gets above. Now, turn on your speakers. Doesn't matter what orientation, but just turn them on. Now here's how to start by pairing them together like an absolute pro. First off, you can see here the Encore and the Clip 5 is connected. We do not want that. We only want the most powerful speaker to be connected, which in my case is the Encore Essential. Some other speakers will try to connect if you have a lot, but then just keep on disabling them until there's nothing left. Now, I have the Encore Essential 2 as my main one. So this speaker right here basically is the one that's going to transmit the signal of Bluetooth from the phone to all of these other speakers. And why is it the best to use the biggest speaker? Because those usually have the biggest woofers and antennas and the best signal with the latest features, which in this case is obviously the Encore Essential. Now, another thing that you want to do before we start connecting these is that make sure party boxes that have a bass port, like my one here, are facing towards a wall for the best amount of bass. Speakers with a passive radiator, for example, my Dual Extreme 4 and the little Flip 7 here, make sure that the passive radiators have some space in between them. And same as that one. And then for speakers that do have passives, but they're not like sort of like coming out, like they're just inside of the speaker, it doesn't really matter, but try to keep them not too close so that the signal can be very good. Let's start by connecting. So biggest speaker, then that one, then this 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 one. Now, there's a couple of things to know about Auracast, is that since you're connecting many different speakers with many different sound stages, it just defaults to JBL signature. You can't control it. So if you're only connecting, let's say, a big speaker like the Encore and then smaller ones like the Clip 5 or the Go 4, you might find that the bass is actually worse. So do not try to connect a huge speaker with just tiny ones. You should, like what I do, you should have your big one, your medium ones, your smaller ones, and then your tiny ones, so that each of them can focus on what they're good for. These are for the highs, these are for the mids, these are for the punchy bass, and these are for the deep bass. Now, if you have a party box or a Boombox 4, you obviously have the bass mode, so it depends, see which one's good for your song. For my bass test, I like the deep mode. Now here, let's see if I was able to get this all properly connected. Here's how to make sure they're all connected. So put your ear to the speaker or feel it. This is obviously working. X4s are working even though you can barely see the passive. It's just that, it's kind of on low volume. Clip 5's working. Go 4's working. Flip 7's working. And Grip's working. And this way, your bass and your loudness, especially if you have bigger speakers like me, it's going to be very powerful. Like, just listen to this here. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but the door was actually kind of shaking. Now, that's how to do Auracast like a pro. Here are some couple of problems that you might encounter into though. Just turn these off. Okay, so here are a couple of problems that you might encounter too. If your Auracast combo has a slight waterish sound, or is all of the speakers are not working, try to disconnect that individual speaker and then start it again. So let's say if all of my speakers are working fine except for this extreme 4, I would disconnect this from the party, disconnect all of the speakers from the party, and stop it from the main one. Then I'll start it again by clicking here on the extremes, then the flip, then the grip, and then the micros, which is clip 5 and then go 4 by power respectively. Now, another thing, if your Auracast isn't working at all, like you can't hear nothing, you might want to turn off all of your speakers, so like press the power button and then press it again after like 10 seconds, or if not, do a hard reset, because I have actually gotten into a couple of issues like this in my own videos, but I have found that if you give the speakers a bit of space, like what I did here, the connection should be very stable, and if it doesn't work, try those tips. Got any more questions? Write it down in the comments, and write which songs, bass test songs, or literally any song, you would like to see on this epic 7-speaker combo that can literally shake the house. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out. Goodbye.